Alrighty. Well, I think we could go ahead and get started, at least with introductions. So I'll start. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Nye. I'm president of Kennesaw PRSSA. And before it slips my mind, I do want to show our speakers the wonderful people that we have in the room today. So I'm just going to flip my screen around here. Wave, everybody. Hi. Okay, awesome. So yeah, like I said, I'm Lauren. I'm president of Kennesaw PRSSA, and this is our entertainment PR chapter meeting. Happy to have everyone in the room here today and our wonderful guest speakers. So if y'all want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, doesn't matter who goes first.
Sure, I'll start. My name is Eugenia Johnson. I am currently one of the lead strategists for our PR and engagement team at Brunette Garcia. We are based out of Jacksonville, though we have remote office locations in Atlanta, Denver, and Washington, D.C. We primarily focus on working with federal clients and nonprofit, specifically within the realm of public health awareness campaigns, and creating full advertising creative for those campaigns and launching them out into market.
Awesome. I guess I'll go next. Hello, everybody. My name is Monique Mitchell. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm based here in Atlanta, Georgia. Right now, I just started a new role. I am the franchise manager at Nine Store Media Group, managing Ludacris, the rapper's cartoon Karma's World. It's on Netflix. Previously, before that, I was at Warner Brothers Discovery. I was there for 9 years. I worked in equity and inclusion, marketing communications, so corporate comms. And then before that, I was at Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, working in public relations, where I started off as an intern and worked my way up to a communications manager. And I'm so excited to be with you all today.
Real quick, I just want to say hi, Lydia. Welcome. If you don't see a whole lot of people on Zoom today, it's because they're all in the room. Happy to have you here. We're just doing some introductions now.
No problem. I do apologize. I had problems getting in, but I'm glad I made it in.
Not a problem. Okie dokie. So Lydia, if you would like, or Paige, if you would like, just to give an introduction of yourself and what you're currently doing in your job position.
You can go ahead, Lydia.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. And as Venetia knew me since she was a little girl, she knows that I spent a lot of years in the entertainment business. So my background was radio, TV, and I did different areas, particularly in TV. So I was a program director. I worked a little bit on the news side and did advertising sales. So sales management is really my background in the entertainment industry. I spent 11 years with the Cumulus radio stations here in Savannah, ended up being the director of sales for 7 radio stations. And we did all types of events and concerts and all of that fun stuff. But I have been out of that industry for a while. And right now I'm in the financial services industry, and I have a financial service practice, helping people secure their financial future. But certainly still have a passion and get called on for marketing and things like that in the entertainment industry. And I'm in Savannah, Georgia, beautiful Savannah, Georgia. And I went to University of Georgia. How about that? Have to say that.
Awesome. Any Savannah fans in the room? You're from Savannah, aren't you? Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. All righty, and Paige.
Hey everyone, I'm Paige Hale. I'm Senior Manager of Communications at Georgia Aquarium here in Atlanta. I've spoken to you guys before, so there might be some familiar faces on the other side of the screen. But I handle all communications, social media, and external communications for Georgia Aquarium. I've been at the aquarium for 7 years, and prior to that, I worked for a small advertising agency in Austin, Texas. So I was on the agency side. And then I worked for the Texas Stars hockey team in Austin, Texas, which is a professional hockey team. It's the NHL affiliate. And I did all media relations and external relations for them. So I've seen the professional sports side and now the nonprofit / entertainment side being at the aquarium.
Wonderful. So thank you all so much for giving us a little bit of background, and let's jump straight into the question. So the first one that we have up is, what made you choose this path? specifically, what made you go into the entertainment PR realm? And if we want to go,
sure.
I was just going to say, if it's easier, we can go in the same order that we introduced ourselves, or, we can piggyback off of one another. It doesn't matter.
That's fine. I'll jump in. I actually majored in advertising and wasn't sure which way I would go into the entertainment industry or the PR industry. So I chose advertising just because I wasn't sure what I was going to major in. And I didn't have a major. And someone said, why don't you try advertising? And I said, you know what? That sounds good. I like marketing. And I did that. And so coming out, and my first stint was with a newspaper. And so that's where I really was able to work with a lot of my clients with public relations and helping them with press releases and things like that. So really got my foot wet in newspaper. And then in TV and radio, it was an opportunity to really to jump in and wear many different hats. So I can just say that fueled my passion. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do and even why I was doing it. I just didn't have another path. But it was really about 23 years of just everyday exciting. And I can say that about the PR industry, particularly. I did have a stint where I did a 2-year marketing firm of my own. And so I had an opportunity to represent clients, write a lot of press releases, get them in front of cameras, events like that. I also left out the fact that I ran away with the circus in between jobs. So I actually was a marketing coordinator and director for the Universoul Circus. So I don't know if any of you all have heard of the Universoul Circus. It's right there, home base out of Atlanta, Georgia. And the owner was a client of mine and asked me if I would take over a market for him when I was in between jobs, and that turned into a 2-year stint. So it really can take you anywhere. PR can take you anywhere. So definitely fun.
I guess I can go next. So how did I get started in PR? So I'll just start from the start. I've been chasing my dreams of working in television since I was 7 years old. I'll never forget, I did a project for Women's History Month. I did this project on Oprah Winfrey, and it was kind of one of the first times that I saw someone that looks like me on television. And I was like, Mom and Dad, that is what I want to do. So growing up in Miami, I was in magnet programs all the way through elementary school, through high school, to be a news reporter. I went to college for broadcast journalism. I went to Florida A&M University. That is what I wanted to do. I had a scholarship. I said to myself, I want to be a news reporter. And upon graduating, being a star in the School of Journalism, I soon learned that sometimes landing that first job can be quite the task. It can be nerve-wracking. It can be stressful. And so I ended up applying for the NBC Paige program in New York City. It's a prestigious program. About 5,000 people apply every year. They only take 50 per year. I'm not sure if you all have ever watched 30 Rock on NBC. Basically, so I was the real life Kenneth. I had to wear the Brooks Brothers suit. I had the opportunity to walk around 30 Rock and give tours. But the best part about that was they gave you opportunity to do like little, what they call assignments, like little mini internships around NBC Universal. So my first internship assignment was at Oxygen Press and Publicity. I had no idea what I was doing. They kind of threw me into the world of PR, and I haven't left since. I started off doing press clips. When you get your first job, they're going to put you on press clips. So for some people, they don't like it. I loved it. I would come in, watch Wendy Williams, have my coffee, do my press clips. And from there, my career just kind of took off. From there, I went on to Saturday Night Live. I was a talent relations person. I worked with all the talent and the cast. I did NBC News marketing. I worked on the Today Show. And then I had an internship in college at CNN. And because I kind of utilized and kept those relationships, then it was Warner Media. Now it's Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the home to HBO, HBO Max, CNN. And I was there for 9 years. So kind of getting into PR, it wasn't something that I had initially set out to do, but I kind of ended up here and I landed in such a great place because PR is one of those fields where it's multifaceted, where you get to work with great people, you get to be a storyteller, you get to, work special events, you get to meet great people. And so I found a home here in PR. I'm happy that I did because I was able to kind of merge all my passions together with meeting people and being personable and kind of making those connections and relationships and telling the best story that I can.
So next, So for me, it was more of a process of elimination. I'm quite sure we know that most comms people aren't that great in math. That's me. And so just from there, I was like, okay, what pathways are there within the mass comms department? I know I like to work behind the scenes, don't really care too much to be in front of the camera. So once I found that there was a role in PR where you're kind of like the mastermind and strategy and kind of putting all these pieces in play, that was really interesting to me. I did an internship at Radio One. I was able to work on events like different remotes, going to skating rinks and different car dealerships, and working Birthday Bash 15, which is like the highlight of the internship. And so that was fun. I also interned at the Garner Circle, and I landed that internship by going out to events like these while I was still in college. The founder, Dr. Nicole Garner-Scott, she held a similar PR format of a conference. And I was like, you know what? I want to work for her. She is one of the only Black-owned, female-owned PR agencies here in the city. And so I was really inspired by just that story alone. And I got volunteered first because there were a lot of events that we were able to do, and just to volunteer, just to get my foot in the door. And then that turned into an internship, which eventually evolved into a full-time position, in which I was at that agency for like 10 years. And I kind of left out the link to entertainment. I kind of just went into what I was doing now. So previously in a former life, I did a lot of entertainment and lifestyle PR, which is basically when you think about lifestyle, you think about consumer brands, anything, products that you use, from what you drive to the beauty products that you use in your hair. All of that is kind of grouped under lifestyle. So I had a chance to work on a lot of different clients, from Hyundai to beauty products, and also pairing different celebrities with those particular events, whether it was a launch event, a gala, things of that nature. I also had a chance to do a few movie premieres. I was on the road with Keke Palmer and Quincy when they were doing the rollout for Brotherly Love. That was fun. And then, just kind of getting my hands, dirty with a lot of different entertainment pieces. So that's kind of my link into entertainment. And then I kind of switched gears to do more public health and nonprofit work. But that's how I got here.
I can go. My father actually is a PR professional. So I grew up with the phone ringing in the middle of the night as a young child. This was before email and cell phones. With crises happening, he did higher education PR. So he taught me a lot about writing and storytelling for the general public, even as a teenager. So when I went to the University of Texas at Austin, I have my degree is in corporate communications. So that's the hierarchical way that we communicate within an organization, internally and externally. And that was really how I got into it in the more professional way, rather than just my dad teaching me things. Once I started doing that, I really wanted to be in political communication. I wanted to understand how politicians communicate to their base, or people they're trying to lure into their base, and how do they swing votes with just simple communication. A lot has changed since I started doing that in the early 2000s, obviously, with our political landscape. So when I started to see those things shifting, I decided, all right, I'm going to go do something else. I love sports. I love that fast-paced public relations where things are changing all the time, with the game results, with an injured player, something like that. So I actually reached out to someone that I knew and got an internship there, and then subsequently started working for the team. Through that, I learned that my passion really is in writing for storytelling. So how do I use the English language and the words to communicate with other organizations, stakeholders, and the general public? And that's why I'm at Georgia Aquarium now. I love to talk about things on our social channels, in media interviews, on our website, anywhere that we can use real estate to talk about our mission and who we are, and kind of like politics, to get others on our side too. You know, the world needs our help, the planet needs our help, and every organization that can come in and spread that type of information is something that will help us create a better environment and climate, hopefully, for the next few generations. So that's why I'm here doing PR at Georgia Aquarium, but overall why I'm still doing it too.
Fantastic. Well, ladies, it sounds like y'all have had some vastly different from the other careers in entertainment, and it's so exciting. And it's exactly why we're so excited to have all of y'all here today to talk to us about entertainment PR, because it's vast. So tell us, in your different entertainment PR careers, what did a usual workday look like for you? What does it currently look like for you if you're currently in entertainment PR, vice versa? Yeah, so what does your average workday look like?
I guess I'll go. So when I first started out in PR, when I was at Oxygen, I was a page. My day started out at 7 a.m. and my job was to corral all the press clips. So I would have to go and learn I really worked my way around Google. And I was working on shows like Bad Girls Club. So I'll put like Bad Girls Club and find all those articles and put that together and send that to my team members and my executives. I do that every single day. It took me about 3 to 4 hours to do it because that was my job. That was my role. From there, I worked with interns, I worked with executives, and that's like your entryway into PR. Now, my day is just unpredictable, but I enjoy that because PR is one of those things where you don't really have a routine. The only routine you have is pitching, but you never know, to Paige's point earlier about crisis management. You never know when you'll have to break a story. You never know, you have to reach out to press to kind of send them like a press release or, kind of clean up a mess. So my day right now, my new role, I work in cartoons. I work with animated content. So my day is pretty cool. I wake up in the morning. I work, my main portion of my job is to find influencers, which is pretty cool. So I get to scroll on Instagram all day long and see what influencers are popping, like who's popular, what are they doing? And I get to reach out to them. I have to kind of create messaging and create briefs and send them to my team and say, hey, this is an influencer I want to work with. This is why, what's our budget? And then I reach out to them and kind of create plans and do a little bit of influencer relations. Other parts of my day consist of sitting in a lot of meetings. I can't tell you how many meetings I sit in, especially since we've gone virtual. I work from home. So my day consists of sitting on Zoom all day long. So I eat lunch at my desk, my work desk, which is my kitchen island. I take calls from my kitchen island. I take, a nice walk in the middle of the day because I feel like when you are a PR practitioner, you want to make sure that you're maintaining your mental health, because when you sit and do the same thing all day long, you want to take a break. You want to make sure that you have a little bit of clarity about what you're doing. And then sometimes my days don't end till 7 or 8 o'clock at night because you're working with people from all across the world. So I'm based in Atlanta. My company's based in Toronto, who happens to be on the same time zone as I am. But I have colleagues in Los Angeles. I have colleagues in Ireland. I have colleagues in Bali. And so we kind of talk to all those people all day long. So it's not crazy for me to be on email at 1 o'clock in the morning talking to a colleague about something that happened the day before or something that's coming up. So no day for me is the same. I really like to use my time wisely. Time management really comes into play. In PR, you want to make sure that you have a plan and you work it. You want to make sure that you have your day organized, you have your goals set out, because each day there's something new, but as long as you're hitting your goals and your benchmarks, you'll be successful. So I just try to manage my time, try to balance, being productive, but also taking a middle break every once in a while to make sure that I'm hitting all my goals and getting all my work done.
I can jump in. So similarly to Monique, everything starts with Google. Everything starts with jumping on your phones just to see what's happened since you've been asleep, because a lot can happen overnight. But also looking for press mentions and press clips, but also looking for opportunities. If there are any opportunities from your partners that will be relevant to the client, or other influencers, as Monique mentioned, or just different ways you can position your client, especially currently I work a lot of developing social media content for CDC. So for instance, if there's talk about melatonin, because we have a poison prevention too. So letting them know, hey, this is what's out in the news. People are, giving ODing their children on melatonin to put them to sleep. This is a poison risk. How can we create content to be a part of that conversation? So that's just a kind of another opportunity that you're looking for. So you're not necessarily mindlessly scrolling. You are kind of a balance of the two. Some things will just pop up, but you definitely want to be intentional about different areas that you're looking at, whether it's outlets in different reporters who talk about the industry, who talk about other partners. So you're kind of doing research and combining all of that data and kind of combing through to really get some pieces that you can use, and that can influence the way that your day typically goes as well. Nowadays, I do a lot more project management. I think that's just overall, well, I have a hybrid role of project management, but as you move up to more senior levels, you're doing more strategy, you're doing more forecasting of what you want the client to be in, what events you want them to do, what outlets you want them to get into, looking at the editorial calendars to see what makes sense so you can pitch them on time to content that they're already looking for. So you're not necessarily doing cold pitches. And then all of that changes if it's an event. If I have, jumping back to previous life, if I had a launch event happening that day, making sure that vendors are taken care of, that they know their instructions on when to arrive, when to set up, making sure that there's a photo shot list for the photographer, that we're getting the right photo shots. So at the end of the night, we can send a recap, and that goes immediately out to the media outlets and reporters that attended. So because remember, your news needs to happen within 24 hours before it's considered old news. So if you're doing events and such like that, you want to make sure you're having that all prepped with captions for the photos and all of that that's sent to the reporters soon after the event so they can run their story the next day. So all of that can change depending on who the client is. All clients aren't the same, and just depending on what the goals are for that project. I gave a lot, so I'll pass it on.
We want all the information. We want all of it.
Okay, I'll jump in, and I will share probably the one that was most impactful when it comes to entertainment PR was my stint with the Universoul Circus. So a typical day there, crazy. There were no 2 days that were ever alike, but my day started, unlike I had a partner when I was out on the road, but my day would start like 6 a.m. in the morning and really identifying my goals for that day. I was a part of the team or sometimes solo going into a market like a New York City or St. Louis or Houston, Texas, maybe 2 months prior to the show actually getting into the market. And it was to build relationships, yes, do all of the PR, make sure that I had to meet with the television stations, the radio stations, make sure we were getting the appropriate press releases, while I was also responsible for buying and placing advertising or working with the agency if we had one in that area. To do that, we were also looking for opportunities for free publicity, if there is such thing, right? And so really being creative and coming up with ideas to have them cover our stories and talk about the circles before we got there. But also my role was to make sure that we had a marketing calendar in place. So I had to meet with all of the political leaders in town, all of the entertainment, say in Jacksonville, Florida, it would have been the Jacksonville Jaguars and how we could partner with them. So we were always putting spin and having to communicate and change things around based on who we were really trying to partner with, and definitely the school systems and all of that. So really working with our home office, but when we were in the field, a lot of times I wrote press releases, sent them back for approval. But then the main thing was really all about making the show effective, driving ticket sales, and really creating those partnerships in the market, because we tend to go back to the same markets over and over. So you had to build those relationships. So that was a big part of what I did. But the day would start early in the morning with phone calls, meetings, and end late at night with meetings, just making sure that we were becoming a part of the community while we were there so that the shows would be successful. And then making sure that we were able to line up opportunities for the talent. When the talents got into the market, I would be responsible for making sure that we had something that was worthy of the TV cameras to come out. So we would do a school takeover and bring the talent out to the schools and make sure that we could have camera and newspaper print, coverage on that. So just always trying to get into the community and really partner. And then that would dictate the PR or the marketing that would take place. Before that, in television, I did a little bit more there just because I worked up into station management and we were moving into the Savannah market. So I had to do a lot of press releases, introducing to the community, and just really, again, having those creative ideas of how we can get someone excited about something they don't really know about. So PR is always fun, and you're always having to put your thinking cap in that creative juices. So I've had to use that in each area. And currently still doing the same thing, but marketing a different product, but image is everything. So I do a lot of self-promotion just as I'm building my new brand. So thank you.
Excellent. Paige.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Yeah, so that, like I said earlier, my favorite thing about PR is no day is too similar. You should have a variance by day. But in my current role, so I manage the entire PR and social arm of the communications team. So I spend a lot of my day managing employees. So if you do get into public relations management at a corporation or a large agency, expect to do that. I mean, people are the most important asset that we have in the companies that we work for. So I spend a lot of time helping them with their projects. We meet a lot, we brainstorm, and then the housekeeping stuff of paperwork and time off and all that. So that's kind of, I don't want to call that boring, because that is incredibly rewarding to me in this role, to take young PR professionals and to be able to teach them and to watch them grow in their role. But in addition to that, so I handle all the strategy alongside our senior director for social and public relations. So most days we are revising, reevaluating the strategy based on things that have happened overnight, within the week, things like that. Just as everyone else has said, we're checking the news to see if something horrible like a mass shooting or something like that has happened, so that we can go dark on social media with any planned external communications, so we don't look tone deaf. We don't look like we're trying to rob spotlight for things like that. So we do that pretty much every day. You kind of get into the habit of doing it when you work in PR too, waking up and checking your phone and knowing what's going on. But I do a lot of copy editing. So I am the glorified copy editor. So I review all the social content, anything that goes out externally. I review it, and that's most of the day in terms of when I'm sitting at my desk and doing things like that. Prior to working at the aquarium, when I was working for professional hockey, that was not as variable. I was doing press clippings, obviously. I was doing setup for media to come. I was setting up camera sections within the arena for player interviews. I was talking to different NHL scouts. I was getting game stats. So when you get to that entry level of media relations, there's a lot of things that have to be checked off the to-do list. And as you get to have a little bit more fun, I would say, and a little bit more creativity outside of that, your days become very different. From anything to writing a press release to we film movies and TV at the aquarium that can film for a couple hours all day or 5 days in a row. So there really is no formula to a typical day, I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, ladies. So the next question that we've got for you is, what classes or skills that you learned in your undergraduate program best prepared you for your career in entertainment PR? I know this is a tough one.
I would say my writing classes for sure. I think writing is the one thing that translates across everything. Like right now, I am a PR professional, but I also work in marketing. So I'm like a marcoms professional. That is the one thing that helps me stand out. I remember when I was in college, when I wanted to be a news reporter, my professor would always tell me it's easier to go from broadcasting to PR than from PR to broadcasting because they're two different learning styles. But if you have that fundamental foundation of writing, you literally can do any and everything. I think the second class that really helped me get started in my career and has been just so helpful is really learning how to tell a story and tell it clearly and concisely. Because in PR, you're writing press releases. In this day and age, people's attention span is this small. So you want to be able to get the who, what, when, where, and why at the top, but tell it so it's compelling and interesting without losing people's interest. And I think the other class that really helped me, especially since I was in broadcasting, was my news writing reporting class, but it taught us how to speak publicly, how to do like public speaking. I think that's really, really important because you are the face of your brand. So when you go out and you're doing a story, you might be a spokesperson, you might be the person that's talking to media, you might be the person that's talking to an executive or a partner or a community organization. You want to make sure that you're able to not only represent yourself well, but also your brand. So I think that those three classes really helped me to, one, get out of my shell, two, not be afraid to use my gifts, like the gift of gab, being comfortable in it, but also knowing how to tell a story, one that's worth telling and one that's worth listening to.
For me, I would say it's been a combination of what I've learned in class and out. But in class, I would say the most interesting by far was PR campaigns, where we were able to look at actual case studies and learn from them. Because most PR work that you do now, the fundamentals don't change as far as like the skeleton of putting a campaign together, the research that you have to do, the identifying objectives and race and all of that formula is pretty much standard. So being able to learn that and have a grasp of that, and then also learning from even campaigns that may not be in your industry, but something may be a cool spin on it that you can relate to your client, is also a cool advantage to have. What I would say I learned outside though, one is being able to take internships during for course credit. So I don't know what class that was called, but we'll call it work study. But being able to, one, not wait until I graduated to have my first internship, definitely I think set me apart from other candidates. And that was a learning experience. One, I remember my intern supervisor at Radio One was like, be humble and hungry. That was her, I lost earring, but that was her philosophy and the encouragement that she gave all of us. So that's something that really stuck with me throughout all of my jobs and internships. And then also, Monique mentioned kind of transferable skills. I would say me working in customer service, whether I used to do waiting at Ruby Tuesdays, I used to be a sales rep for Bath and Body Works, because you're able to talk to people. And PR is all about the relationships that you're building. You're building these relationships with the media and journalists and different partners and stakeholders. So all of that relies on the relationships that you have, and you take that with you throughout your entire career journey. So being able to have those conversations, and even though you're not necessarily in front of the camera, you can be a spokesperson, or you may have to jump in for your client at some point in time, or you may have to coach them and do media training. So you still have to have those fundamental skills of just knowing how to speak and knowing how to build relationships that'll help set you apart in your career.
Okay. For me, again, like Eugenia, it was campaigns, but mine was advertising campaigns class in the journalism school at the University of Georgia, and it was definitely that really, as I said initially, I wasn't sure why I was doing advertising, but that really solidified it for me, and I really enjoyed that class, and it gave me skills that I definitely still use today, and just how to put together a full campaign, how to do the research, how to do the SWOT analysis, and how to make sure that everything works together, and how to work with a team. I think that's one thing that really that class taught, and something that I've definitely been able to do throughout my career, no matter where it was I'm really one of my strong suits is being able to work with a team, being able to bring people together and lead teams, and I certainly gained that skill there. Another thing that sticks out is we started a committee for Black cultural programs while I was at the University of Georgia. And I had the opportunity to work on bringing people in, and bringing in like Nikki Giovanni and Alex Haley and all those in, and really having to promote that. So then we were able to work with the local radio stations, the local newspapers, and really, do the PR, put together press releases for that. So it was really hands-on, tangible skills that I certainly took out with me to my different careers. And I was thinking in my head, Eugenia, I never thought that my position at Olin Mills, I know they are too young to know that Olin Mills Photography Studio, that was one of the jobs that I had in college, where I was on the phones and selling packages, photography packages, and greeting clients when they were coming in. But that actually did help me, and maybe had some impact in why I went to the sales side of advertising. So thanks for reminding me of that. Thank you.
Yeah, very similar to everyone else. Writing courses, write, edit, proofread, have people look at your writing. You never know when you're going to have to write in this job, and very quickly. So you need to get really proficient at it. I would say in terms of courses, I took a course called Teamwork Communication, which is exactly what it sounds like. And it's how to communicate within a team. And at 20 years old, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. I can't believe I have to take this class. But now I'm glad that I did, because it taught me how to communicate not only within a team, but with difficult people. And then I've learned that outside, even in internships and jobs that I've had, and in my career. Media is a lot of fun. Working with media, creating relationships with media, even people that aren't within the media sphere, you're going to encounter mean people. You're going to encounter people that are just not very pleasant. And those types of skills, through courses you take, internships you have, bad bosses maybe that you've had, will teach you how to handle all of those situations without getting heated yourself, but also being direct and forceful. And I can say on this panel, as a female in this industry, sometimes you have to be very direct to get what you need, especially from media. If you're dealing with some kind of salty older men in media, sometimes you have these difficult situations that you have to do what's best for your brand and your organization and that storytelling. And those experiences for me, that sounds scary, those situations, and I was able to face them knowing I had all that experience behind me too.
And I would just add to Paige's point about dealing with mean people. I don't know what it is about entertainment, but we haven't even discussed the personalities of actual entertainers and artists and people who think they're celebrities. Like, that's a whole, that should be a class. And then also considering the geographic locations of these markets. Atlanta tends to be a little bit on the slower side, and maybe have more of a Southern charm. But when you get to New York and LA, people's personalities, they be not there. So just wanted to, just highlight Paige's point there.
Yeah, thank you all so much for sharing that. And I mean, I think we all can relate to those classes that y'all referred to and how they've helped us, currently, or how they're going to help us in the future. And thank you for the advice on mean people. I think we've got it good here in the South sometimes, but thank you. you know, ladies, I had so many more questions for you all, but y'all are giving such wonderful answers. I think it's just time to go ahead and open it up to the floor. So this is the time where I invite everyone in the room. I know you can't see them all, but I invite everyone in the room or our friend on Zoom to ask away. So if y'all have a question, just raise your hand and call it out. Oh, come on, y'all. I opened up the floor too. Yeah, okay, there we go. Come on. Okay, Eugenia, I don't know if you caught that, but this one's for you. How did you find your internships and what's the best way to approach internships? And this is from, what's your name? From Isabel.
Thank you. I didn't hear anything. So thank you for resharing that. So going back to relationships, it was a word of mouth referral from a friend from I was in AK Psi, which is a professional business fraternity on campus, and they had a current internship at the Garner Circle. And from there, he was phasing out, and they were like, just kind of gave me the heads up, like, hey, this is what you should do. You should volunteer. They should be looking for a new intern soon. And so that was kind of my way into getting in the door for that particular internship. But I would say just in general, being ahead, most companies have internship programs that run similar to a school schedule. So as you're starting school in January, kind of be looking top of the year for those spring internships. For the summer, before you go on spring break, kind of have some ears to the ground of who should be looking for internships. And the same, like I said, it's kind of the same schedule that you have like for going into school. That's when people are looking to roll out and rotate their own interns. Also utilize your career department. I know being that I'm fully employed now, I tend to go back to my alma mater's school of the department, as well as just the career center. Both departments will help to provide information on internships as they become available. And let people know what you're wanting to do. Go out different companies that you're interested in, request, interview, what is it called? They're not
Informational.
Yes, thank you. Request informational interviews. And that's just basically saying, hey, I just want to take you out for lunch. I want to take you out for coffee, and kind of know a little bit more about you and the work that you do, without there being necessarily a job or opportunity on the line. You're just really wanting to make those connections. And hopefully when something is available, you have that connection, or they'll remember you and knowing what it is that you're wanting to do. And most people are willing to help. It's just being flexible and getting to the right person.
Eugenia, thank you so much. Did that help? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Maya. Sure. So Paige, I don't know if you got that. So this question is from Amaya. Because you are heavily involved in team management, Amaya. Okay, what do you look for when you're adding to your team? Resume, personality, anything?
Yeah, so most of the time we're hiring for entry-level public relations and social media positions. So what I look for is internships, past work experience. We've had a couple people on our team that have done government internships. So they're doing just kind of senator or governor, whatever, internships for a small period of time, but they had a couple of those. They had a couple different variety of internships. I don't rely on the resume as much as I used to. I now this sounds kind of teachery and hard, but I now give a writing proficiency exam if you make it past like the phone screen that we do with HR. And I also give you an AP style exam because I unfortunately, like I have people that do great. The resume looks great. They're awesome on the phone. I get them into the interview and they give me a writing sample, and I that really is make or break for me because we have to write so quickly in the news cycle that we are in, especially in the zoo and aquarium industry. Everything will eventually die, right? So if we have an animal death, I need somebody that can write very quickly. I also look for extracurricular things. I think it's great. I think we didn't have it when I was in school, but capstone, I see a lot of capstone on resumes. I want to know what you did. I don't know what you did in capstone, but I want to know what else you did. I think it's awesome that you are dedicated to school and your work, but I want to know what else you do outside of work. And then I ask you about what you love about zoos and aquariums. So I want to make sure that you're the right fit. And this is for this job. I could tell you about, when I worked for other organizations, but I want to know why you want to work here. And I want to see where that passion comes from, whether it's for PR or it's for the industry, to make sure that you're a right fit. And then I have you meet the rest of the team. So we make sure that you have that interpersonal connection with everyone else on the team. That's just as important as your skill set. If you're not going to get along with the people that you work with, it's not going to last very long. So it's kind of a multi-phase approach to that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paige, for that answer.
This one's more aimed towards Eugenia, but as someone who's trying to get their name out in the entertainment industry, how would you go about like getting over like anxiety, like when meeting professionals? Because I find myself like kind of meeting people naturally rather than just applying for jobs through like LinkedIn and stuff like that. So whenever I do like kind of get along with them, it just like comes into a deep like conversation, and I just get a little anxious. So.
Sure. Eugenia, did you catch that?
A little bit. Can you translate?
You here, come on up. Come All righty.
Hey, so okay, as someone who's like trying to get into the entertainment industry, more like on the radio side and everything, how would you get over like say kind of get over anxiety like when meeting like professionals in radio?
Mm-hmm. So one, you want to address the root of it. So it's not necessarily just meeting professionals in these specific industries, but it's becoming more confident in who you are and what you're wanting to convey and communicate. So that's one. So that can be practical as far as like talking out loud and speaking out loud, getting used to hearing your own voice. You have platforms like Clubhouse where you can kind of jump in conversations and just kind of get used to speaking and speaking in the mirror, speaking in front of your friends, and then also become curious about who you're speaking with. I think that sets people apart because you're not just trying to sell them. You're not just trying to get a job or get whatever, you need out of it, but you're showing some authenticity and being curious about who they are, their own history and background and the things that they need and how you can help meet that need. And I'll pass it to Lydia too. She has background in radio.
Thank you. Absolutely. Eugenia gave you some great advice there. And I would say just make sure that you know exactly where you want to be. So you know what station, what person, and make sure that you are prepared. I can't stress that enough because first impression is everything. So practice in the mirror. Make sure that you are ready for that 30 seconds. We used to call it elevator pitch to sell yourself. So make sure that you're confident, that you're bold and you're ready. Find out about the culture of that business or that station, that personality. A lot of people will meet and position themselves to meet air personalities out at events. Make sure you've done research. Find out if they have children. Find out what their passion is. But I can't stress enough about having internships. I know we talked about that earlier, and if you can do one while you are in school, now I know so many young people that came to us and did internships while they were in college. And I hired 2 of them myself to work with me, but there's such an opportunity there. My daughter is working for a local television station now that she did an internship. She had to go to a smaller market, but now she's actually at a medium market because she did an internship there. So that is very key. But again, just be confident. Visualize yourself sitting in front of that mic. I don't know if you want to be on air. Is that what you want to do, on air?
I'm not 100% sure, but believe it or not, it's for like the UGA radio station because I go to Athens like once a week, and I
Mm-hmm.
met with like the I think yeah, her name is Avery Jenners, and yeah, she just like we really got along, and she gave me like a job offer, so I just like don't want to ruin it or anything.
And that's it. And just see yourself there. Be very confident, but prepare, practice. Don't wing it. You know, research the station, research the things, come in with ideas because sometimes they will ask you that. And if you've got an interview, please be prepared for behavioral type questions. They'll ask you, what would you do in this situation? And you want to be able to put yourself, but whatever you do, if you stumble, don't stop, continue. Let them know that because that's a big part in the entertainment industry. You know, most people don't really have all the answers, but they know how to keep talking and bring it back together. So you've got this, just like you're standing there now, but just
Okay.
be very confident, right?
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
And I would
Yeah.
also add just one more thing, is to speak to everybody. The person at the front desk is just as important, if not more important, than the personality themselves, especially within radio. They're the gatekeeper, literally. So from the producers to the sales team to interns and all of that, just want to make sure that you're authentic and kind. Kindness is really basic, but you just be surprised. Just being kind and saying hello, and again, just kind of being curious about everybody that you come in contact with.
That's great. And keep that great smile. You have a great smile. Use it. That will be a great tool for you.
Alrighty, so we do have a couple of other questions in the room, but we are running close on time. So what I'm going to ask is, speakers, would you be willing to put your LinkedIn or your emails in the chat? And I'll pull up the chat now for y'all so you can take pictures and, you know, just send over your questions to our wonderful speakers.
I can say mine too because it's kind of easy.
Sure.
So I'll give you my email address is Monique@MoniqueAMitchell.com. And you can just put in the subject, Kennesaw PRSSA meeting, and then I'll know where you're from. And then you can just go from there and ask me any questions, anything that you need. But I also put in the chat.
Thank you so much, Monique. And speakers, thank you so much for your thoughtful answers to all of our questions today. It has been absolutely wonderful. As we're dropping emails and Instagrams, LinkedIn's in the chat, I'm just going to put this out there. Would y'all be all right with doing a picture with everyone? So we'll just I'll have everyone kind of gather around in general vicinity, and we'll do a 3, 2, 1 cheese thing with our speakers. I'll move all my stuff out of the way in the classroom. So y'all, those are all of our speakers' contacts if you want to take pictures real quick. All right. Everyone getting their pictures. Awesome. And then now, speakers, this is your chance to get to see all the wonderful people that we've had in the room. So now that everyone's gotten their pictures, y'all can, if you want to gather around this general area here. All righty. And what I've been hiding behind the screen the whole time are all these wonderful people. All righty. So we've got all of your pictures up there on the screen, and then we have all of our wonderful people standing in front, but you can see they're all filing up.
Hey there. Oh, wow. I remember those days.
All right, just for cohesion's sake, I'm just gonna.
Yeah,
Hello,
Lauren,
Ariel.
for the
Am I
shut-
get-
do you-
Okay, I'm getting in there too. Okay.
I was gonna say, do you want to hide this photo so it's not an empty box up there? Hide your video screen.
Oh, that's a really great idea. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, PRSSA. Oh, yeah, that was we gotta do that. Try it again. 1, 2, 3, PRSSA. Much better.
All righty. Speakers, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And I think I can speak for everyone in the room. Your responses were so helpful and insightful. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your world of entertainment PR with us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good success to everyone.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great
Bye.
rest of your evening.
You too.
Nice meeting you
Bye.
ladies as well.
Yes, nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet everybody. Bye.
Bye.